Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, Mr. Chair, update. Senator Tester and I met again with Secretary McDonald and many of his senior staff this week. We had a very productive discussion. I look forward to giving you an update on that, and hopefully we can have a committee hearing focused on some of the good things that I think the VA is doing in short order. I want to go back. Senator Brown mentioned one of the two bills that I wanted to talk about. Going back to the Fry Scholarship Enhancement Act, I actually think it may be better termed the Fry Scholarship Correction Act because I don't believe that any reasonable person thinks that we intended not to have someone who was killed in the line of duty to have their families or their dependents be entitled to this. So I won't get into the specifics of that because I think that's one of these policies where we should have uniform support, and I would expect it. I did want to get to some of the mechanics, though. I think that the 10-year cost of the benefit is estimated to be about $6.2 million. The cost to implement the underlying IT system is estimated to be $5 million. So almost the equivalent of the 10-year cost of the benefit. So this may be less of a question and more of a statement. I think it may speak to some of the things that we need to fix at the IT level when a program that is fundamentally bringing in a new class of recipients, and it only relates to the circumstances that led them there, would cost $5 million in a year before we could get it online. And if you'd like to comment on that or comment on the merits of the bill, I would welcome anyone to speak.
Senator, I would just comment that in order to take care of this new aspect of the benefit, at least 3 of the IT systems that we use would be impacted. The one that the school certifying officials use to input the information, what's called Benefits Delivery Network, BDN, which is a legacy system that actually is on the other end paying the benefits, as well as our long-term solution, which is essentially the post-9/11 GI Bill automation. So we don't like it any more than you do, but it does take time and right now the whole system is basically in sustainment, so we have to get a development contractor and go through that process, and that's why it takes that amount of time and that amount of money.
Yeah, I just think it's a good example that we won't deal with more in this committee, but it's a good example of how we have to become more agile so that when we fix what was obviously an oversight or an unintended consequence of the Fry Scholarship program, that we get to a point to where to allow other people should have been entitled from the beginning to come on board, that the cost to do that almost equals the cost of the benefit we want to give them and delays the process of having the systems and process infrastructure in place by a year. So I want to help remove those barriers, particularly if some of those barriers really relate to either statutory or other requirements that you must get through in order to do your job. Because I sincerely believe you all know we want to do this as quickly as possible for the families of fallen soldiers. The other one I want to speak about is one that I'm co-sponsor on with Senator Blumenthal, and I appreciate his work on this. And it has to do with the Career Ready Student Veterans Act. Again, when we have men and women in uniform coming back, they want to get skills that make them career ready. We want to make absolutely certain that they're putting their time and their energy into education that's going to get them the kinds of certifications they need in the states where they intend to get work. And I was not able to be here during the opening comments. I don't know if you had any comments on this bill, whether or not you support it, but I'd be interested in your feedback now.
We do, Senator, we do support the intent of the bill. We agree with you 100% that a course of instruction should result in the credential that it's supposed to provide the opportunity for the veteran to take. We do have some questions and concerns about some of the language in the bill, specifically with respect to the waiver, applicability of the requirements to all types of schools, and applicability of the waiver requirements to all types of schools. And we'd like to work with the committee to help with that.
Well, I'd like to do that because I think it's critically important. I have personal experience where I helped a vet who worked on my staff down in the legislature to make sure that he was putting his investment of time while he's working a full-time job, trying to get skills that he needs to move into another position to make sure that he's spending that money wisely and not finding out he worked really hard, worked nights, raised a family, and still he thought he got something, but he really didn't get something that would help him get that job that he wanted. So I look forward to working with the ranking member and with the members of the committee to move forward. The last thing, it has nothing to do with the subject matter, but I do want to just mention, Mr. Chair, that the meeting with the VA, the secretary and everybody went well, but there's one thing that just still nags at me that's not done, and that is getting a permanent replacement for the Inspector General. I think we're working on 20 months now. If you take a look at some of these programs that we want to do to really make y'all more agile, make you more able to do the great things you want to do, we need somebody there who's looking at some of the systemic problems and issues that only an IG who's in a permanent position can do. So I just, for one, want to remind everybody we need to get to that, and hopefully the administration will agree and come forward with a nominee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.